He's made us Ethiopians proud and brought joy to our nation.
We call him the king of long-distance running.
Haile is, and will always be, the most legendary of figures for the Ethiopian people.
I don't think athletes like him are born into the world very often.
In athletics, you have to be selfish. You need to think, I have to win everything, in it to win it.
Every morning in the Entoto Hills, close to the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, the locals undertake their daily chores as a very different scene unfurls around them. At 3,000 meters above sea level, many of Ethiopia's world and Olympic long-distance runners train in the rarefied atmosphere. Among them is Haile Gebrselassie, the greatest of them all.
If I hadn't been well disciplined, I'd never have been successful in my sport. An athlete could be very good and very talented. He could win gold at the Olympics and the World Championships, but he won't do so unless he's well disciplined. Otherwise, no chance.
Every child has an idol. Gebrselassie was his countryman Miritz Yifter, who won the 5,000 and 10,000 meter double at the 1980 Moscow Olympics. The young boy was suitably inspired.
At the Moscow Olympics in 1980, I heard Miritz Yifter won. And I started to ask, who is Miritz Yifter? Then I just wanted to be like him, and that's how I took up running. From the age of 7, I wanted to be like Miritz. That was my dream.
That dream has been fulfilled. On the track and in the marathon, his successes have included more than 20 world records and brought him untold fame and fortune, a far cry from his humble beginnings. One of 10 children, Haile was forced to work hard to support his family. Running was a chance to escape, and he used the journey to and from school to hone his talent.
I think the reason why I started to run is because the journey from home to school was 6 miles there and the same back. It was a long way, and that's why I became a long-distance runner, mainly competing in the 10,000 meters. There was no other option, because there was no means of transportation. You just walked everywhere. We went to school 5 days a week, and then we had to go to the market every Saturday, and that was 1 mile further.
These hours of dedication have made him a multi-Olympic and world champion, both indoors and out. His big break arrived in 1991, when he competed at the Ethiopian trials for the Junior World Cross Country Championship. He failed to win, but one onlooker from the Netherlands was impressed.
I think he only finished 5th. Normally you go for the number, numbers 1, 2, or 3. And I remember he also came up to me, and he didn't speak any English, and he said, "Me Europe," and I saw his smile and I saw his determination. When I asked Haile about his dream, and then it was very clearly, I want to be the best long-distance runner ever.
Age 19, he won the 5,000 meters at the World Junior Championships in Korea in 1992. And in the 10,000 meter final, faced a sprint to the line alongside Kenya's Josephat Machuka.
Coming into the home straight, I positioned myself next to him in a bid to overtake him. After running side by side for a while, I managed to get in front. As I did so, he punched me on my back, which knocked me off balance. But I won anyway. He never did apologize. I won, and that's the important thing. That made me well known and opened doors for me to start competing at senior level. The whole world started to ask, who is this small young athlete called Haile Gebrselassie? As I'd won double gold at a world championship, it was big news.
His coach then was Dr. Yilma Berta, who later became his marathon coach. For Berta, the youngster's talent was clear. Gebrselassie was a star in the making.
After he won 2 golds at the Junior World Championships, I was extremely confident that he would become a great athlete. His devotion to training and achieving the best results was reason enough for me to have great expectations of him. That showed me his potential for success. It told me that given time, he would become one of the greatest athletes ever.
A year later, Gebrselassie made his debut on the senior stage at the World Championships in Stuttgart, Germany. Having already won silver in the 5,000 metres, he sought gold in the 10,000.
Moses Tanui was the only one to stay with me, and I knew that he wasn't as strong as me if it came to a sprint finish. I was too quick for him. I was completing each lap in 53 or 54 seconds, more or less. On the last lap, he shouted loudly and kicked off one of his shoes. I was taken aback by his actions. I thought that he might have tried to get me disqualified, and I asked myself, what's going on?
What's going on? Gebrselasie's left foot appeared to catch the back of Tanui's left shoe, which angered the Kenyan. Nevertheless, Tanui carried on.
I was still baffled by his strange behaviour with 100 metres to go. At that moment, I decided to sprint, to try and win, and then face any punishment if there was to be any. I came from behind to win.
I know for 1000% sure Haile did it on purpose. It was, bad luck, and Moses was disappointed and also kind of angry.
2 years later, Gebrselassie was determined to defend his title in style.
In 1995 in Gothenburg, Sweden, I really believe I was at my peak.
One of the most incredible things that happened there, Haile ran his last 200 meters in the 10,000 meter faster than Kipketer in the 800 meters. Haile ran, I think, 25 seconds over the last 200 meters in the 10,000 meters.
It was a very easy win for me in Gothenburg. Of course, my finishing ability at that time was at its best.
It's the ultimate carnival of cricket on one.
You'll always find the airfares you're looking for. Plus, hundreds of exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Have a great trip, mate. So you'll always be spoiled for choice, price and advice. No matter how you choose to book. That's the airfare experts for you.
When it comes to energy snacks, there's no-nos and there's na-nas. Chemical high, that's a no-no. All-day glow, that's a na-na. When you need longer-lasting energy, reach for nature's energy snack, Australian bananas.
Shannon's is giving you the chance to win a 13-day driving tour of the Italian Lakes and Alpine region, including the famous Stelvio Pass, plus see the Ferrari Museum and go on Lamborghini and Ducati factory tours. To enter, get a Shannon's car, bike or home quote. Call Shannon's on 134646 or go online.
Sick of rising energy bills? Have you thought about solar? 1 million homes are already saving. Solar Broker's free and innovative service identifies how much solar could save you in less than 60 seconds. Solarbroker.com.au will generate and email your free solar report, identifying how much solar could potentially save you. Plus, our free solar buying guide and up to 4 solar quotes. Simply enter your postcode to get started. Solar Broker. Going solar has never been so easy.
The 1996 Olympics were held in Atlanta, USA. And on his first appearance at the Games, Gebrselassie was chasing another dream.
After Abebe Bikila won the marathon at the Rome Games in 1960, I think it's every Ethiopian athlete's dream to win at the Olympics. The Ethiopian people themselves have a sentimental attachment to the Olympic Games.
Wow.
But the African faced an immediate problem: the climate.
Following my arrival in Atlanta, I found the humidity very high. So after landing and then exiting the airport, I went out for a training run almost straight away. On my return from training, the skin from one of my feet had peeled off because of the heat.
His foot was blistered. There was a big worry within the Ethiopian camp. We were beginning to doubt whether Haile would win.
Despite his injury, we at the Federation were convinced he could win. So we decided to enter it anyway, even though he was far from fully fit. Mainly because we were so short of athletes.
Despite being in severe pain and with his opponents unaware of his injury, Gebrselassie qualified for the 10,000-metre final. A victory there would mean the fulfilment of another dream for himself and his childhood sweetheart, Alem.
We'd been in love for the last 3 years. And I always used to tell her that we'd get married after I win a gold medal at the Olympics. During the race, I'd feel the pain from my foot shoot up to the top of my head. But you don't have any choice once you enter a war. You're like a soldier. There's nowhere else to go but forward.
He's not a softie. He's very strong in his mind.
Against the odds, Gebrselassie's sheer determination drove him to the front of the field. Only Paul Tergat of Kenya could stop him.
I could feel my injury, and a race over 10,000 meters wasn't ideal for it. But I ran with all my resilience, and amazingly, I won.
Gebrselassie proved too strong for Tergat. He had won Olympic gold for the first time.
Unless you can withstand pain, you cannot win. If you do that, you've a chance of winning a gold medal.
When he won, it was a proud moment for my country, for me, and for him.
I became very emotional, and I cried when I was presented with the medal. And I think that's something we really feel as Ethiopians. We truly cherish our flag. And I couldn't believe that the flag was raised high because of me. You just cry. And especially in Atlanta, in 1996, I was so touched. I just broke down.
Back in Ethiopia, he and his fellow medalists were welcomed home as heroes. And Haile kept his promise to his girlfriend.
Upon my return home, we got engaged at the airport. And our engagement was totally dependent on the dream I had of winning becoming reality. And that dream was fulfilled at Atlanta. We got happily married afterwards.
The following year, he retained the 10,000 metres title at the World Championships in Athens, again defeating Paul Tergat, the silver medalist in Atlanta. And 2 years later in Seville, he retained the title once again, with the same man finishing in second.
Paul Tergat was a very strong opponent. Sometimes when I talk about him, I genuinely feel sorry for him. It's unfortunate that we were around at the same time as athletes. I was the only athlete Paul Tergat needed to beat. If you take me out of the equation, nobody would have beaten him.
Next up for Gebrselassie was the defence of his Olympic title in Sydney, Australia. Once again, he came face-to-face with Tergat in the final. But all was not well with the Ethiopian.
The biggest problem was he had a Achilles tendon serious injury already going on for 1 year, and actually he was not supposed to go to the Olympics. We had already an appointment in Helsinki to be operated during the Olympics, and then build on with his career. And he still decided to go to the Olympics.
When I first went to Sydney, I wasn't planning to run the 10,000 metres. My presence there was originally planned just to inspire the Ethiopian team to as many victories as possible. I was not going there to run. Following my arrival, things started to change. I said to myself, why shouldn't I compete now I'm here? And having travelled so many miles to be here, I said, let me try. I was limping. An Achilles tendon injury is very serious. Not only was I in pain, I was also aware that Paul Tergat had been training very hard and preparing meticulously for the Olympic Games.
If Haile had not been part of the team, it would have had a negative impact on us. It would have been difficult for us. For psychological reasons, the performance of the Kenyans is not the same when Haile is present. He was a big name and capable of winning even though he was injured.
With 250 metres to go, 2 Ethiopians and 3 Kenyans were contesting the medals.
We didn't know if the Kenyans were aware of his injury or not. If so, that might have given them the courage to take him on. It could well have been a factor as to why Paul Tergat decided to sprint for home early.
Gebrselassie and Gebru pursued the Kenyan.
With 150 metres to go, I told myself that I'd got so far, and now I have to win.
The longest track event in athletics produced one of the most exciting and dramatic finishes in Olympic history.
We were neck and neck. I couldn't see the finish line properly. All I know is that I dipped in an effort to cross the line before him. It was an incredible moment. The finish was truly amazing.
Tergat would never have a better chance of defeating his nemesis.
If it was possible, I wouldn't have minded sharing the gold with him. Gold for Paul and gold for me.
It was only when Gebrselassie came out limping for the medal ceremony that the extent of his injury became apparent to everyone.
The media were asking, what's happening? We managed to cover it up so everything was okay. That was one of our tactics. We kept quiet about it so as not to give our rivals any clues that I had a problem.
I think this is the most fascinating race that Haile ever did because he was injured. He couldn't even run properly, and it was incredible.
His achievement was commemorated in Addis Ababa, where the Ethiopian capital has paid a special tribute.
Haile Gebrselassie Avenue. Wow. It was named after me, and that's a very big achievement for me personally. When I see Haile Gebrselassie Avenue on a map, I just think, wow.
It's TN's big family show.
Planning your trip with an expert in store. Well, at Flight Centre, you'll always find the airfares you're looking for. Plus, hundreds of exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Have a great trip, mate. So you'll always be spoiled for choice.
Harvey Norman September price blitz. Thousands of lounges and Sunbeam Cafe Series espresso machine, $4.68 with bonus grinder. Just $1 for entire home carpet installation. Hurry, hurry! Shop in store and online. September price blitz ends Monday at Harvey Norman.
Sick of rising energy bills? Have you thought about solar? Identifying how much solar could potentially save you. Plus, our free solar buying guide and up to 4 solar quotes. Simply enter your postcode to get started. Solar Broker. Going solar has never been so easy.
At the 2001 World Championships in Edmonton, Canada, the Ethiopian was again beset by problems ahead of the 10,000-metre final.
One day before the race, I had a severe fever and diarrhea. On race day, I just couldn't cope with those problems. I just didn't have any stamina left.
Haile wasn't in the best of health. Therefore, before the race, we agreed that he would tell us if his health problem became unbearable. But he said nothing to us.
With Tergat absent, another Kenyan, Charles Kamati, made a decisive kick for home.
I was in the lead with 100 metres to go, but he overtook me very quickly and I couldn't respond. There was nothing I could do.
It's a race I will never forget. And whenever I watch it on television, I think, that's a race I should have won. Kamati won, and neither Haile or I did, because of our desire to finish first and second.
Kamati took gold, while for Ethiopia it was silver for Mesgebu and only bronze for Gebrselassie. 2 years later, the World Championships in Paris witnessed the emergence of a new Ethiopian track star, Kenenisa Bekele, who beat Gebrselassie to the gold in the 10,000 metres. And a year later, at the Olympic Games in Athens, Gebrselassie missed out on a medal for the first time in a major championships, when he trailed in 5th in the 10,000 metres, won by Bekele.
I've heard many athletes, including Kenenisa, when they're asked how they started in athletics, they reply that they are inspired by me when I won at various World Championships, Olympic Games and in the marathon. I'm very surprised that I've managed to inspire so many athletes.
After that setback, Gebrselassie announced his retirement from the track and his intention to concentrate on running marathons. He finished 3rd in his only marathon up to then, London, in 2002.
In the marathon, you're competing against the distance itself. 26 miles or 42 kilometers. The marathon is the king of distance. And breaking the record in it is one thing, but just finishing that distance is a major achievement for me.
From 2005, he won 5 of his 7 marathons, including victory in Dubai in early 2008. His time of 2 hours, 4 minutes and 53 seconds was just 27 seconds off his own world record, set the previous year in Berlin. His intention was to win Olympic gold in Beijing in 2008. But the high pollution levels in the Chinese capital forced Gebrselassie to reluctantly withdraw from the marathon.
We should not forget Haile has some kind of asthma problems. So, you know, bad weather or bad conditions, but especially the pollution, would really, you know, affect him.
He did take part in the 10,000 metres, but finished only 6th, as Kenenisa Bekele defended his title. So does Gebrselassie regret not taking part in his first Olympic marathon?
Why should I have any regrets? I was preparing to win in Beijing whatever distance I ran. I was asking myself what sort of training I should do and where to train. I thought it over, and that's why I eventually went for the 10,000 metres.
The following month, Gebrselassie ran the Berlin Marathon, an event he'd won for the previous 2 years. He'd broken the world record in the German capital 12 months earlier, and the intention was to do the same again.
We were hopeful he could break the world record again in Berlin, and we talked about it a lot.
Of course, the weather must be good. The pacemakers must be helpful when you run a marathon. And receiving encouraging support from the spectators is also very helpful. If everything is in your favour, you can succeed in the marathon.
Succeed he did, setting a new world record of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 59 seconds, breaking his previous world best by 27 seconds.
In my opinion, winning a marathon is fantastic. But when you realise you've broken the world record, wow. Of course, you were very tired when you crossed the finishing line. And then, all of a sudden, you get a surprise when you look at the clock and tell yourself, I broke the record.
I broke the record.
It's a great feeling.
His withdrawal from the Olympic marathon had been justified.
From the time that Haile was running on the track, I knew he could break the world record on the marathon. I mean, you know, of course, when he had to stay healthy, and that's why also the decision about Beijing. You know, you don't want to play too much with your health.
Ever wondered what could be hiding under your backyard?
Oh, what? No way.
In One's new series, their obsession is turning your garbage into pure gold.
If it's real, $100,000.
Savage Family Diggers, Monday on One.
Sick of rising energy bills? Have you thought about solar?